So the size-oriented metrics nowadays are not that popular, but in old days they are used to be there. So line of code and something they have to use. For example, if you see this first slide here, okay, in size-oriented matrix, this simple table, okay, this shows what exactly we are doing in the size-oriented matrix, and the nearest per kilo line of code. So if for one line of code you are given with a 1 rupee, then for each error they used to deduct 1 rupee from the thing. So 1,000 lines of the code, 1,000 rupees, 200 errors, 200 minus, you are going to get the 800 rupees. But to force you to write down a correct code, generally they use to give what you can say called as I said 2 rupees cut per error. Now, what is the defects per KLOC? So, per thousand line of code in your code, there may be some defects or some logical shortcomings. For that, they also use to cut down things. So, dollar per and then per thousand line of code, they are used to pay something. So, pages of documentation per kilo line of code is calculated. Errors per person month, KLOC per person month, then dollar per page of documentation. These things are calculated. Now you know that is size oriented matrices are okay if it is something like some products like say you are say sugar. You are having 100 kg of sugar. You can give the price of 100 kg. You can have 1 kg of sugar. You can give price for 1 kg. But what it is if it is an intelligent product where it require your brain to apply, then for size oriented matrices you should have to uh, use something which is required to be say universally accepted. And in software engineering, size oriented matrices or metrics of the size oriented software calculations are not universally operated. Now there are proponents, means the people who take the side of this size oriented matrices or proponents of the number of line of code. So it says that it is a claim that is, program is an artifact. So LOC should have to be number of line of code should have to be the can say the benchmark to measure the program thing. But it is not the length of program. It is the intelligence of program that counts. So the opponents argue that these LOC measures are programming language dependent, and that is why the size oriented matrices, obviously assembly language, if you are using a code assembly language, then to print a single character you require to write down around 7 lines. If you go with the C language, you require to write down hardly 1 line, and if you go with Python, you hardly require any. So this is what you can say called as an what you say the size of a program based or with respect to the what you can say the language. Then comes the next school, and this next school of the software matrix is called as a function oriented matrix. So what function oriented matrix says that every program is in itself a function, and this program may require some sub functions to work with it. Okay, so for example, let's say suppose if this is the main program, this is the main program. Okay, consider this as the main program. This is the sub function, and this is the another function which is called in a main. I am showing this intersection to show that these programs are called in a main thing. So the function point based or function oriented software matrix says that every program should have to be considered as the composite of different function or the functionality. So if this function delivers its functionality, okay, if it delivers its functionality or it satisfies its purpose, then and then only you can say that it is working. So the function oriented software matrices metrics used to say that a programmer should have to be paid against the module development. So whenever or the function development or what you call say macro development. So this is the one I can say the extreme with things. So these function oriented metrics are used called as the function points. So usually every function is given with the points based on its complexity and number of line of codes in that functions and the logic something. and based on that this characteristic this say. So now the people who actually propose this function point, or what you can say, the function oriented software matrix, they say that programming language independent. Once again claim, proponents claim these things are programming language independent. So they say that making it ideal for applications using conventional, because it's not depend on which type of language you are using, it's depend upon whether the return function satisfy the thing or not. But once again it is not the case, because if you are using the C language you require to write down a bigger code, and if you are using the Python you require to write down a small code. And so the P is opponents claim that it requires some sleight of hand, or what you can say the trick. Okay, so in that computation is based on the subjective, and so the rather than the objective data. And so they oppose this function oriented matrix. So these are the two school, traditional school of evaluating your softwares and software things, and that's called as an LOC of number of line of code, and the function point matrices. Now we are going to see the reconciling or the comparison between these two matrices. Okay, so first there is relationship between line of code and function points. This depends upon programming language. Okay, so obviously if you are using the old programming language, you require to write down a number of very large number of line of code, and even your functions will be quite clumsy there. So the quality design is not achievable using the old languages, or what we call as the machine level languages. Now it is also possible to backfire by this. John in 98 have given this, that existing software to estimate the number of function points. Because if you say, suppose you want a software, and in that software you want to have the different function points. Okay, we in a progress you may require to design new function points, and likewise, or you may need to discard the already defined few function points, and so the cost of the software varies. So this LOC and FP, these measures are often used to derive the productivity matrix. So what they come up with, what we call as a mean of these, means consider the function point as well as the LOC to calculate everything, so estimation. But right now, if you consider the what you can say the usefulness of these two metrics, these are nowadays are generally not used by any company. Okay, and they are just here because we are studying the software engineering and project management for the historical purpose. Okay, that is how the once upon a time the softwares used to be calculated. Software remuneration is to be calculated, so based on number of line you type, based upon the number of function points you functionality you added. Okay, but aesthetic and other things were not considered at that time, or even the user interface designs likewise. For example, here you are having this LOC per function point for the simple function. So you are having the number of line of code for the simple function, a single function. So this diagram, this table is actually adapted from the book of Roger Pressman. Okay, so if you are having a function, programming language is access, then for that function you require average number of lines are 35, because median is 38, low is the 15 lines, and highest are the 47 lines, defined in the access for the particular function. So for the same function, if you go with the ADA is the first pure object oriented language, is have the 154 lines, there is no median, and likewise. So if you see here, this difference is quite you can say remarkable everywhere. So these are the computer languages, these all are the computer languages. Even I also don't know all the languages, or neither you know the all languages of the computer. There are many. What we know, the popularly known languages are C, C++. Okay, COBOL once upon a time used to be a very popular language. Now it is not used. Oracle database, you know that Oracle, SQL, and other things are there. So these languages, few languages are known. Fortran is still used by the formula translation language by different civil engineers and other mechanical and other engineers who require maximum mathematical calculations. So if you go with this, you will find that LOC and FP matrices are there for the same function. Every computer language required to have the number of things. So this Lawrence and Kids said the metrics for object-oriented projects, and this says that is object-oriented projects are different from the traditional projects. For example, if you go with a traditional project where we are considering the function point, you are having the main program and the function is strongly attached to the main program. They have this intersection, or what you can say, we can call this part as the attachment part. Okay, so they are very strongly attached here with each other, but this is not the case when it's come to object oriented. In object oriented, you are having the main program and there may be a sub program. This sub program is also a standalone program. Okay, this sub program is also the standalone program, and this main is also the standalone program, but they actually communicate with each other, okay, for certain tasks through collaboration and through interfaces. So that is what we call as a scenario script or use case diagram. Okay, so it's a number of scenario scripts are used first for this thing. Then second thing, if you want to say, so if you are having a more number of scenarios, then per scenario you have to give what you can say the cost. Now this each script is actually divided into three templates, that is the initiator, uh, action, and the participant. So initiator is the object that requests some service, or what you can see your client program. Action is the result of this request, so what we call as this as a transaction. Then the participant is the server object which actually work on whatever data sent by the initiator and give back it to the things. So here we are not considering these processes are there. So number of scenario script of these things, who initiate the process, what are the intricacies of that process, and which program will, what you can say, response to that particular process. Based on that, what you can say, the interface, these things are calculated. So if you go with a thing, this Lawrence and Kids also given with this the number of key classes. Key classes are the core classes. For example, if you go on creating student information system, then student class, or say person class, student class, mentor class, college class, okay, number of subject class, these classes actually form the entire structure, and so these classes are considered as the key classes in this object oriented analysis. So number of key classes required to analyze the count, and based on the each class design you will get paid for this thing. The next aspect about this metrics aspect of the object oriented projects given by the Lawrence and Kids is the number of support classes. So what are the support classes? When you create any application, so suppose you want to print a file, so what you require, a printer class, which is a support class, because not always you are going to print everything. Okay, so that's why these are called as support classes, or some toolbox class, and likewise. So interface, graphical user interface, database access, some computational classes and other things, they are called as the support classes. They can be developed on each keys and likewise. So this is the indication of the effort actually. So if you are having the more support classes, you can see that is more patches are added into the program. Now average number of support classes per key class, that you also have to consider. So when you have this average number of support classes per key class, we actually go with what you can say, the thing. So you are having the one class. Let's consider this field bracket as the field square as the key class, and then you are having the different support classes which are actually somehow relate with or collaborate with this key class. So if they are number, we can say, you can say that is in a system, if you are having say n number of classes, then you have to calculate the average classes, subclasses attached with the main class. This can be used to relate the function point matrix, and for every subclass and for every main class you can use that, and then calculate the you can say what you say, the cost of your software. So this is the Lawrence and Kids set of metrics for object oriented. So non-graphical user interface applications are required to consider these things, and likewise. Then when you are having an entire system ready, the system requires to deal with some subsystems. So, or a system may be the aggregation of some subsystems. In that case, the number of subsystem or number of standalone classes that you are using can be considered as the system, and that also gives you the function point. So, you have to identify the subsystems, and once they are identified, it is very easy to create a reasonable timetable or a schedule so that you can work on the subsystem and likewise. So this is what these are the three major what you can say metrics in the software engineering and project management. Then if you consider this, if you we can go with the next thing. If you are having any questions, queries for this, you can ask. If you are having any questions, I can ask. Now, if you are not having question, then I will consider that I will start with the next slide on the thing. I'm thinking none of you are having any questions right now. So let's start with next slide. Unit number 5. This is a bigger one. So we are going to cover this in half. So if you have any questions, queries for this thing, because once we got this, what can I say, this estimation, sorry, this matrix finalized, we can go on cost estimation of the software, or what we call as a project estimation. Okay, so let's see what is the project estimation now. So when we say project estimation, uh, what we are having here in project estimation, we are having our objective is simple, and that is integrating the metrics, and we are having the three metrics. One is a LOC matrix, another is a FP matrix, and third is the OOC or object oriented methodology or software engineering or object oriented computational matrix. Okay, so you are integrating these matrices in a software process of communication and say what can say these software engineering process like what another thing, and then we are going to compute on this, and then we go on software project what can say estimation. So decomposition and likewise. So we are going to see about this first, the integrating metrics with the software process. Majority of these software developer actually do not measure. Really thing is that whatever we are studying here theoretically about the cost of software, practically the cost is calculated in a very different way. Practically the cost is calculated like that, how much profit the industry can make from the particular software in minimum time, because any software when you release that software is having the hike of the customers for the hello. So someone blown the chunk, or what you call say. So these software things are there. The majority of software developers still do not measure the things. So in reality, how it get measured? Say suppose industry want to make 1 lakh rupees from a particular small software. So it target, first say once the 1 lakh rupees is made from that software, its price may be negotiated in different way. But for a what you can say research reason, and to give the software calculation, the cost calculation in a correct way, these developers require to measure the software process and the product, okay, that produces. So answer is simple, that is if you do not measure, there are no real way of determining whether you are improving or not, and that's why measurement, or what you can see using these matrices are very important. So simple thing, that is if we won't take the examination, okay, what will happen? uh, uh, you will never come to know how much you actually understood from that particular subject. If we stop taking the feedback of mentors like me and other also, Okay, the we people also don't come to know that whether we are really giving something good to you or not, because the satisfaction that come from the teaching is when the student understands something or student asks the questions, because he start getting some doubts on the particular thing. So that is what we how the measure. Yes, feedback and this the examination is the measures, and the metrics are nothing but the benchmark to exam something. So the collection of quality matrices are there enables that organization to tune in a software process. So not all these matrices which are actually used are the for directly for the software. Some are, for example, HRMS metrics, means human resource management metrics. Some may be the marketing management metrics, and likewise, and they together form these things. So by using measurement to establish a project baseline, the issues like developing meaningful project estimates, producing higher quality of the system, getting product out the door on time, these things are required to be what you can say managed. And once if you measure the thing, this becomes manageable. Means, let's say suppose if I go with the meaningful project estimate, just consider a simple example that someone have given you an order that is within a month you have to design and develop a website for that organization, a small organization. They have given you the entire month, but and for that project they said that they are going to pay you 1 lakh rupees. Okay, a full-fledged website like something that is you have to maintain and do, but they are going to pay you the 1 lakh rupees. Okay, but you have to give this website within 1 month. 1 month. Now if you want to make maximum profit, when will you will deliver the website? You will try to deliver that website within minimum amount of time. So what you will schedule, you try to think about the complexity of coding and everything, and based on that you will try to set the timetable of a 20 days. So instead of 30 days, now you are getting 1 lakh rupees for the work of 20 days, and that's how the companies work. Okay, so you require this, and then producing the high quality systems and other things require. So this becomes manageable once you get the thing. So by establishing a matrix baseline, benefits can be obtained at the process, project, and the product. For example, let's say suppose here the website that required to be completed within a month. This is the first constraint given, and matrix baseline is that it must have to be interactive and dynamic. So you are going to check whether it is interactive or dynamic, and you know that verification and validation tests are there given by the user, and those gives the thing. So it actually gives you the process, it also gives you the project, and it also ensure that where to stop while developing the product in its first version. Okay, or from where to start when you go for the second version development of the same product. Okay, so the matrix baseline, this consists of data collected from the past software development projects or existing competitor softwares and likewise. So it's like a RAD model. So to be an effective aid, so how to establish this baseline of the things? So data must be reasonably accurate, because if you are not having the reasonably accurate data, then it's not an estimate, then it can't call as a guesstimate, or what you can say, you are simply guessing something. Okay, हाँ हो जाएगा, कर लेंगे, देखते हैं, like no, not that attitude. You are required to have the data must be accurate. For example, you the customer have to tell you that is what type of what you can say forms, or what type of you can say input is required. Based on that you can create the things. Data should be collected for as many projects as possible. Okay, or from as many projects as possible. Measures must be consistent, means if you go with the LOC, stick to the LOC. If you go with the function point, stick to the function point. If you are dealing using the OOC or object oriented metrics, you have to stick with that. And if you want a composite of all these three, you can go for that. So these are what they say, measure must be consistent. Applications should be similar to the work that is to be estimated. Means if you are going to estimate your work, and if there are already existing applications available, then they should have to be similar to your work. Okay, so Ideally, when data is required, baseline have actually gives you the direction on what type of data is required and likewise. So data collection requires historical investigation and other things. Now once measures have been collected, matrix computation is possible. So what are the measures? Measures here means the data. Once the data is collected, it is possible to apply the things. For example, let's say suppose you created a program in a Java, or consider you created a program in a HTML and you written down around say 20,000 line of code for the website using HTML. So the matrix is that is number of line of code. So nowadays many templates are already HTML and other templates are ready. So how they calculate your work? Just by calculating the part in that template which is implemented by you, and that is what we call as a matrix must be evaluated, and they should have to be applied and likewise. So matrix evaluation focuses on underlying reasons for the results obtained and likewise. So if you go with the things, the software engineering process, analyze, design, code, test, or what we call as a communication, design, then develop, and likewise then software project. Once the software engineering process is completed, you have the software project, then the software product, the product specifications. All these are combined, creates the data for you. So what are exactly data? So you get the process data, project data, and the product data. Okay, then you get the measures are generally what we call as the due lines or end date. Then you go on calculating these matrices, and then you go on evaluating these matrices. So when these metrics are created and evaluated, you can give the indicators and likewise. So this must have to be measurable process. That's what it says. So the measurable process is actually very necessary in a software project estimation and like. So the software cost and effort estimations are there, and software cost and effort estimation. What they are not the something what you can say. For example, let's say suppose you have written a paper. I'm giving this example right now because you already have gone through that, and you have written the number of line of what you can say answers, line of code. Okay, and now you know that is you write written the 1,000 lines, but out of these 1,000 lines only 10 lines are correct. Okay, so in the ratio, what is the percentage of correctness in that number of lines of your answer? Yes, so that is what we call as saying that uh, we can't consider the cost and effort. Consider the marks as the cost there. So for writing this 1,000 lines, if you are getting first the answer maximum cost is 5, and if you are getting the 2 marks only for that, then it is actually based on the what we call as the number of line of code or number of line written by you in the answers. Now what is FP here, function point? Simple thing, that is you are written only one paragraph for the answer, 7 to 8 lines, but you satisfied all the needs of the question, or whatever the questions raised by the questions that you satisfied in only single paragraph. So your answer become much meaningful than the number 1,000 lines of the answer, and so you may get now 4 out of 5, or your cost will what you say optimal, and that is what we call as the software cost and effort estimation. So generally in practical, uh, there are too many variables. First variable is the human. For example, whenever you go on creating a software, you require to hire the different persons, and you require to pay salary to them. So their salary get automatically added. Okay. Then experts require technical, means you require hardware, software, architecture, or what we call as the infrastructure actually. Environment required to be there, and then political. What is political can affect? Political means whatever the world situation is going on right now. We are going through the epidemic of COVID-19. Almost the entire world economy is derailed due to this COVID-19 within the last 6 months. many of us are facing too many problems. Almost 40 to 60% of the population is right now jobless. 40 to 60% population is right now jobless, and whichever is in a jobs or is in what you can say doing some work, they are doing the work for the half of the profit whatever they made yesteryears, meaning 2019. So if you go with these things, these call as political. Political here means anything which is right now what we can call this as anything which is undefinable or anything which is 11th hour situation. So this thing can affect the different things. So there is no exact formula actually available or the exact science available for the things cost and effort estimation. Take an example for this cost and effort estimation. Which is more dangerous thing to do? Or also which requires more effort to do? Let's consider that is you are going to a barber shop. Okay, you are going to a barber shop, and the barber just set your hair, yeah, one cut, two cut, three cut, and 1,000 rupees, something like that. Okay, and now you are going to a you are going to some other shop, and there you did the complete cutting. Okay, the other barber shop, but now you are giving him the 100 or 50 rupees, which is more you can say uh, which require more efforts. So this is a thing. Efforts can be calculated, and there is always what you can say mismatch in this effort calculation. And so software cost and effort estimation is quite it's not the exact science. Again, for example, let's say suppose you created a software which is like a shop in Wagoli software, and at it first you said the software is available to for the use and social media software. Consider the example of WhatsApp. Once upon a time WhatsApp used to charge few rupees to every person per month, but when it's become so popular and when it's achieved what you can say when it's actually earn too much money from all the subscribers and advertisers, and likewise it's become now lifetime free. So the cost efforts are still there, but that cost is not there. So okay, so you have to delay do something. Must not have to delay the estimation late in the project. Estimations are many times considered as only the baseline, which are flexible enough so that you can say use relatively simple decomposition technique. मतलब ये सीधी सी बात है, अगर आप यहाँ से राइट नाउ इसे सपोज यू वांट टू गो फ्रॉम your place to someone else place. Okay, so what you will estimate time, what you will estimate the cost of traveling and everything. Okay, but that is not a fixed one. हाँ, आपने समझो 10 मिनट एस्टिमेट किया है, बस 20 मिनट लग सकते हैं. So that is what we call as the estimation. So estimation is generally the something which is considered as the referral point. It is not the final one. Final one is comes to you come to know at the end of the entire software itself. uh, Entire software development. So first is the software project estimation. Delay estimation option is not practical. Okay, then the second option work that is if the current project is quite similar to past efforts, you can get something from that. For example, you can see your senior who completed his degree in 4 year, and you can estimate that if you work in the same way you will also complete your degree within the 4 years of span. That is what we call as, if some project is already available, similar project, you can estimate the cost of your project based on that. Okay, now the remaining options are there are many viable approaches to the software project estimation. The simple market of approach is that any company, whether it is a what you can say commercial company or whether it is a free open source software company, whichever company is there, when they are there, they are not going to give you anything free. Means a free software is given to you, but when you use that free software, automatically you start to learn their software, you advertise for this software, and likewise, and there is always a donate button. Yes, or even if you start to donate to that particular software, so they are not asking you the direct money, but still you are giving them the money. So there is nothing free in this world, and that is what we call as the remaining options or viable approaches of earning the money or estimating the software project, and likewise. So let's start with these things: the decomposition techniques. It's take a divide and conquer approach, and likewise. So we are going to see these decomposition techniques of what you can say estimation in the next lecture, because right now the time is already 3:08 and 3:09 something. I have to see the time on say, just a minute. Okay, it's 3 only. We are still having the 10 minutes, so we can continue with the things. But if you have any questions, queries, you can ask now. Any one of you, if you have any questions and queries, you can ask now. Kindly type your questions in question and answer. Okay. So you have no questions and queries, and we are having total right now 81 participants. I'm happy with that. Thank you very much for your support. So uh, today I wasn't gone through this new timetable, so I actually set the lecture with our old time 2:15 to 3:15, and suddenly I came to know this. But in this time frame, around say around 12 to 1, I was busy in the meeting, other meeting, and likewise, so I failed to conduct this lecture. And when I come to know that this time the madam was already started her lecture, and that's why I said that is we are going to conduct today's SCPM lecture immediately after the CN. So tomorrow's lecture we will conduct on 12:30 to 1:30, and right now I'm stopping sharing the slides. We are going to see the decomposition techniques tomorrow, because I am not that much what you can say well prepared to give the detail on the decomposition techniques right now. Should have to give you the proper examples and how this decomposition works. Okay, thank you very much for being with me for this long. And if you like the lecture, okay, one or two thumbs ups are all always appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I'm ending this session now.